Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are back on the update Wind of Change dev server, and we're having a look at a new challenger that is going to grace the British tree in the update. This is the Black Knight. This was actually kind of pseudo-announced last year in a little video that they did for a specific other kind of advertisement thing that War Thunder was doing at the time last summer. And it's nice to finally see it in the game with one of its major features being there, which a lot of people speculated about. The Black Knight is an improved Challenger 2, basically giving it some new systems which it will benefit from in the game. Mainly this active protection system that you see here and here on the X-ray, and also from the little areas here where it actually fires the thing at the projectiles coming in. I have a few videos on testing the APS, and all I can really say is it seems to be super RNG about what it actually blocks and what it doesn't. Seems like it's quite effective against a lot of stuff from the air, but from the ground it's pretty much up and down, depending on angles and also depending on velocities, so pretty much as simple as that. It also gives it a pretty cool commander optics, gives it also some interesting thermals from that point, and a laser rangefinder and all of those different things. But everything else about the vehicle is very similar compared to the standard Challenger. And what I actually like about this Challenger is it doesn't have all of the excess weight that something like a TES has with its chunky monkey sets of armor, and also even the extra stuff that you can get on the 2F as well. So without the chunky monkey armor, instead, what you have is a useful system, and you're not 10 tons heavier for no apparent reason. And yes, you're less protected against chemical munitions, but nobody's firing chemical munitions, and if they are, and it's coming from a helicopter, well, guess what? You got an APS to deal with it. So overall, a big upgrade over the other challenges that are about the place. The gun itself is the 120mm L30A1. So the standard one that you find on the Challengers, has a two-plane stabilizer, has very good gun characteristics, very good vertical and also horizontal movement on it, and pretty decent gun depression at 10 degrees as well, which is pretty standard for these types of vehicles. At the same time, the first stage load of this vehicle is impressively good. It's always been nice with it being at 5.8, but you can see with the crew skills that obviously changes because it is manually loaded. So you can get it down to 5 seconds if you want, with the base being 6.5. So you can now reload the vast majority of vehicles at 11.0, apart from some of the crazy autoloaders like the Type 10 and also the Type 90. The first stage ammo is only 4 pieces though, so once you get through them, you are going to be struggling a little bit to have a quick or as quick of a reload, so you've got to be careful of that when using this gun. At the same time, it does have access to the L27A1, the 5.64, 4.76, 326mm penetrating round respectively. Very good round at top tier, not the best, but definitely not the worst, and can get the job done very efficiently against the vast majority of vehicles that you face. Does have access to Gen 2 thermals for the gunner and also commander, and also in this package gets a laser warning system, which is super useful. This system was first introduced, I remember, on some of the Italian vehicles, and I was a bit skeptical of how useful it would be. But once I started using it on those Italian vehicles when I unlocked it, I found that it was really, really, really good, because it basically lets you know if a helicopter is targeting you, or if you are getting lasered from across the map, so you have to reposition. It's generally a very nice thing to have on these vehicles, because it gives you additional information that you normally don't have access to. So for me, this is very positive. It also has some smoke grenades, and these smoke grenades are really cool. So it has 5 on each area, so it has 20 overall, and basically you have 4 launches with it, and it creates a cone. It creates a 360 cone around you, so it fires 1 out of each of these pretty much, with some extra ones moving through at the same time. So you can completely cover yourself in smoke 4 separate times, which I think is super good compared to what you see from other vehicles where it'll just do in front of you, or maybe it will not do the sides of you. For the Black Knight, it actually really does cover you extremely well. The armor is pretty standard on this thing, so as I said, it's just a Challenger base armor. They don't change anything from that, so a decently good turret, but now with the mega rounds that a lot of nations have, people can punch through it. Has a huge breach that everybody shoots at anyway, has the driver port weakness, and has the low glacis weakness as well. So yeah, it's a Challenger. It also has the 4 set of crew in it. It has the 1217 horsepower engine moving this 62-ton behemoth, but since it doesn't have all the extra weight of, you know, the Dorchester armor or anything like that, it does move around at an okay click. Not the best, but definitely not the worst compared to its compatriots. So overall, not too shabby when it comes to that vehicle itself. The Challengers, for me, are always really fun vehicles to play, just because of the special connection that I have with them, you know, growing up around them, just like a lot of people do when it comes to the different vehicles that they see in the game. It's why stuff like, you know, the having different vehicles from different nations is so important, because if you don't have these vehicles around, what ends up happening is that part of the player base may just disappear, because, you know, they're not interested in vehicles that they're, you know, unsure about or haven't seen before. But you can see with the APS on the Challenger that it gets 2 strikes or on each side of it. So if somebody fires to the left of you, so we'll demonstrate it here in the little block, then the APS system will be able to target it and hit it as it comes in. So you can see here, there you go, it's used one of its charges, and the ATGM has been successfully stopped. And then for the second charge, there you go, once again. But if we let it fire one more time at that left-hand side, it would have taken us out. The other thing you've got to be careful of is if the actual sensors on the vehicle get taken out, what this will end up meaning is you won't be able to stop the shots coming in. And you can see here once again, the fire on it is working very well against the ATGMs. Now you can actually reload the system if you want, which is something you might want to do because you only get four goes at it basically. We did a bunch of testing on the APS, so you can see there it does actually reload them, which is super fun. We did a bunch of testing on this APS system, and the best I can say is right now it's wobbly. So basically it's I don't know entirely what it's supposed to protect against, but it seems to protect against like it can even protect against stuff like APFSDS, but a lot of the time it didn't protect against it. And then against heat and HESH it was the same thing. It just seemed all over the place in its general usage. But with the ideas of the smoke, just to give you a look, you can see that it fires 2 out the front and then 2 out the back, meaning that you're pretty much covered from all sides. It's very similar to how the Leclerc uses its smoke. You know, when it comes to the game. It also has ESS if you want to not see and make your enemies see you. ESS is not very useful at the higher echelons, and yeah, it does have, you know, the Challenger mobility, but it's at least it's not fully weighed down. As you go with the Gen 2 thermals that you can see, and also the commander sight having the same thing, and also the aim mode on it, which is quite nice. So overall not too bad on the whole optics front when it comes to the vehicle. The British don't have a ton of options when it comes to high tiers and when it comes to their MBTs, but it is nice that they found a vehicle which is similar, if not the same, as the other ones around, but does have something unique to it. And also, being a vehicle that will test a new system on it in the form of the APS is fantastic, because it means that, you know, British players who have basically just been playing Challenger after Challenger after Challenger after Challenger, then trying the South African stuff, then maybe throwing in a few of the light vehicles, now have something which is much more agreeable to them because of this unique mechanic. And it'll be interesting to see how this mechanic develops further when it comes to different vehicles, when it comes to different nations, to see what they get access to when it comes to it. I know this mechanic is not just something that's on the Challenger, it's also on a bunch of other vehicles which will hopefully come out when it comes to the future in the game. This is probably the next step for MBTs when it comes to War Thunder, being given these interesting systems. And it's nice that the Challenger was the one chosen to be able to kind of show them off and test them. I hope you all have a wonderful day. and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Merciless Reaper, Jerry Provolt, Megadino King, Professor X1718, Orangetail, Sakoshi Tiger, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, Moxie, B. Young, and Derek R., Barine, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.